Hello everyone. I wanted to make a video about what the 3PA model is and why I'm so excited about it. So the 3PA model is a 3-problem area model for PTSD, and it's a model that I created. And the reason that I created it was I wanted to help people conceptualize what the core problems were, and as well as provide information on how to fix those problems. Because as far as I can tell, all of the symptoms of trauma can be traced back to these 3 core problems. I call them problem areas. It depends on the problem area why it's referred to as a problem area. In the case of the first problem area, it's because there are 2 types of problems within that area. The first is having what I call overactive physiology, so having a dysregulated central nervous system, having a fight or flight response that's being activated too frequently or too easily. And then the second problem in that problem area is alexithymia, or having internal numbness or emotional numbness. And I have 2 videos up, one on how to heal a dysregulated central nervous system and one on how to heal alexithymia. I was able to do both, and as I was doing it, I was paying attention to what I was doing in an effort to be able to share that knowledge with other people. And then the second problem area is what I call monuments of misery. You can think of that as unprocessed traumatic memories. It's a little more complicated than that. There's a reason I call them monuments of misery, and I go into that in other videos, so I'm not going to go into that again here. But if you're experiencing nightmares, intrusive thoughts, or flashbacks, that's stemming from having unprocessed traumatic memories, and your unconscious mind is throwing those memories back into your field of conscious awareness in an effort to get you to deal with them. And so I have a video up on 4 ways to process traumatic memories, and by doing that, you should be able to get the nightmares, intrusive thoughts, and flashbacks to stop. I was paying attention to all the different things that I was doing as I was doing that, because I had a lot of trauma that I had to work through. So I had a lot of quote-unquote monuments of misery that I had to process and figure out and heal. And as I was doing that, I was paying attention to what I was doing. The third problem area is moral injury, and I describe that as 3 relationships, or damage to 3 relationships. So you have a relationship with yourself, you have a relationship with people/humanity, because that exists at different levels, and then you have a relationship with reality/God, however you want to think about that, because even if you're an atheist, you still have a relationship with reality, and if you believe in a higher power, then it's likely or possible that you would kind of blame them for whatever's happened to you, right? Because God's kind of responsible for everything, right? And so, as far as I can tell, all the symptoms of trauma stem from those 3 problems. And I also have another video up on how to heal moral injury. And it's very difficult, and it requires you to basically develop your ego, develop your consciousness, and probably also involve psychedelics to some degree, or maybe require psychedelics to some degree, because you're reprogramming core beliefs. And I don't know if it's possible for a person to really, really do that. Like if you have someone that's really suffered a lot of trauma and has really, really complex PTSD, they're probably going to need psychedelics to fully heal their moral injury. But maybe not, I don't know. I did. And the reason that I'm so excited about this is because at the beginning of my healing journey, what I was trying to figure out 5 years ago when I first started, or 4.5 years ago, however long ago it was now, what I wanted to know were 2 things. 1, what had gone wrong? What were the problems? And then 2, I wanted to know what I needed to do to fix them. And when I got on the internet and I got on YouTube and I started looking at what books were available, there weren't really any resources that provided answers to those 2 questions. And that's what I'm intending with the 3PA model. It points people at the core problems and it also, the intention of this channel is to be that resource. This channel is intended to be an antidote to PTSD. And it's PTSD isn't something that you can just fix. There's never going to be a pill that fixes PTSD. Even psychedelics don't do that. You have to do the work, and psychedelics show up kind of the way that steroids do for bodybuilders, right? If you're not lifting weights, there's no point in taking steroids, and if you're not doing the work to heal from PTSD, then you're not really going to get that much out of using psychedelics. And I have another video that I did on psychedelics, and I talk about in that video how psychedelics aren't for everyone. So I don't want anyone to misunderstand me and think that I'm advocating that we should just hand out psychedelics like candy and everyone should be doing psychedelics, and that's not the case. Some people are not suited to those experiences and need either a therapist or a sitter, or they need to spend a year or 2 psychologically developing themselves and their knowledge and their understanding and going through some healing before maybe they're ready for those experiences. And so, but the reason that I'm so excited about this is because if you have someone that's experienced trauma, right now there's really, my sense of it is that most people feel like there is no quote-unquote cure for PTSD. And the difference between a cure and curing something and healing something is that curing something is as if it never happened. Healing something is if you break a bone and you heal it, you're still going to have that seam where the bone fused back together, where healed back together, right? But if you do an X-ray, there's always going to be that seam. And so that's the difference between curing and healing. And no, there is no cure for PTSD, but there are, I think, I was able to heal, and I had a lot of really bad things happened to me when I was a kid, and then I did 2 deployments to Afghanistan, and I was able to like fully heal myself. Like I consider myself fully healed, and I paid attention to what I was doing along the way in an effort to be able to share that knowledge with other people. And that's what this channel is that's the purpose of this channel, is to help people understand what it is they need to do to heal, and so they can find their way into a better lived experience. And one of the misconceptions that I think a lot of people have is that when you go to a therapist, it's like going to a barber where you sit down and the barber cuts your hair and you just sit there, right? Or you take your car to a mechanic and you hand him the keys and say, fix the car. I don't really need to understand what you're doing, or just tell me how much I owe you, right? And that's not really what therapy is. It's more like working with a personal trainer. You're doing the work, they're helping you do it, which that's actually kind of good news, especially for people that, because it's empowering, right? Because it's something you are doing, it's something you have to do, which means you can do it yourself. And so, because there's a lot of people that don't have access to a therapist, and if you do have access to a therapist, you should find a competent therapist, because that's an invaluable resource, and they're going to help you in this process. They're going to be a tremendous resource, right? But a lot of people don't have access to therapy. So what are those people supposed to do? Just suffer? No, heal. And you can do it on your own, DIY, man. But it's like there's no resource out there to show people how to do that. And that's what I'm hoping that this will be for people. And so the reason I'm so excited about the 3PA model is because if you take someone with PTSD and you explain to them, and they can, that person can understand and conceptualize what it is that they're doing, well, that opens up, that has so many benefits, because 1, it gives them hope. 2, it provides a roadmap forward, right? And then 3, it's motivating, because there it is, there's how you have it. And so that allows for confident forward movement. And I really believe that everyone can heal from PTSD. I really do believe that. And how far can you go? How awesome can you make your lived experience? I mean, I went from being like, let's say, an 8.5 out of 10 bad to being, honestly, at this point, I'm happier than most people are, I'd say, like in general. And, whereas before, like with PTSD, I was way more unhappy than most people, right? But now, because of all the work that I've done, I really think like I enjoy life a lot more than most people do. And my average daily lived experience is probably, like, in terms of like how I experience it, like above average. And it's because of all this work that I've done. So not only is healing available to you, not only can you get back to a point where you would have been if nothing had happened to you, but you can actually go further than that and achieve a level of well-being that you wouldn't have been able to attain without doing all of this work. And so I'm really excited about all this, and I hope it catches on, and I hope people can see the value in the 3PA model. And it's a model for patience. It doesn't, it's one way. Anything that's sufficiently complicated requires multiple models or multiple perspectives or multiple ways of looking at it in order to understand it, right? And PTSD is very complicated, so we should have multiple models for PTSD in order to understand it. And this is a model that's intended to be used by people that are experiencing the symptoms of trauma, that have experienced trauma. The intention is that this channel is an antidote to PTSD, because the antidote to PTSD isn't something that you're going to give to someone. You're not going to watch these videos and be healed. That's not how it works. It's like you have to do the work, but in order to do the work, you have to know what it is that you're doing and how to do it. And that's what this channel is intended to provide. And that's why I'm so excited about this. And I really believe that hopefully that this will be valuable to people. So thanks for watching.